Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen. His website is thegoldandOilGuy.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me.
So, are people finally taking a bite out of the FAANGS?
Yeah, you could say that. The FAANG stocks, technology stocks in general, they've been beaten up really hard over the last week and a half. And huge some has stepped in. And, it's heavy distribution selling. The big leading stocks are getting unloaded. Maybe, some big profit taking by some big firms with large positions, kind of rotating out of the top performing and locking in gains for the year end. But this is pretty heavy distribution selling, and it's very select. We saw the NASDAQ and tech stocks move down sharply, while the rest of the stocks, small caps and the SP 500 and Dow, were rallying. So it is very clear that this is heavy distribution selling, and it's definitely a warning sign that big money is slowly trimming positions and moving to cash. And we've seen big money rotation like this back in 2015. We saw heavy volume distribution, and back in 2015, it looked as though the market, it was putting in a major top. It really was. All the signs were there. Small caps had already broken down and kind of turned into a bear market. Transportation stocks were down, and kind of the market ended up getting stability just before it broke down. It was flirting with what I would consider a bear market. It tagged the level 2 days back in 2015 and 2016, and it was able to stabilize and went into this massive rally, which is to where we are today. And back then, we saw this heavy distribution selling, just like we saw in the NASDAQ. And all it is at this point for the technology stocks and the FAANGs is it's just a couple days of big money moving out of the best performing stocks. And they can continue to go higher without any problem. It's just they've kind of just been hit over the head, and it's just profit taking at this point by some big players. And eventually, when more big players start to do this, and the chart starts to show that more blatantly clear, this is obviously just a one-day little kind of wave of selling. But as more of these big firms start to unload some pretty hefty positions, other firms will start to get nervous, saying, well, I don't want to be the last one kind of selling out of here. And it creates that kind of rush out of the FAANGs, and it could definitely create a pretty big downdraft and be an early warning sign that the rest of the market may start to flounder. But at this point, all it is a kind of a shot across the bow saying, hey, big money players are moving out of these right now. They're starting to trim. Just keep your eye on these, because they may not be the hot sector going forward here. They could start to really underperform.
Well, wasn't it about 2 years ago we had the big January correction that had people very concerned?
Yeah, we had that huge sell-off back in January 2016, and it was a huge drop in the market, and it really scared people, because usually they say how January goes is how the rest of the year goes. And the market, that was the point where we were actually very close to clicking over into a bear market, but it did get stability in February, and it was able to rally and break to new highs. So we'll see what happens this year. I kind of feel as though the markets are hanging on to a thread, and they're trying to hold on to the year end. And then I think January, February, we could see some pretty good profit taking take place. So I think the market needs to cleanse itself and rejuvenate. It's a little long in the teeth, pardon the pun.
Yes, we keep talking about the FAANGs. And also, too, I've noticed, they really are spending so much money because people have been investing in them. What happens when they're not the darlings anymore? Do all these investments of theirs dry up?
Which investments are you speaking of?
Well, driverless cars and producing new television shows or shows for their exclusive online networks.
Right, yeah. I don't know how that, obviously, the share price is a little bit different than the kind, typically from the investment capital that they're getting to keep running. But yeah, obviously if share prices are getting beaten down hard, corporations will start looking at what they're doing. Where can we trim? What should we trim? Maybe we shouldn't launch this new product or whatever it is, right? So if things start to underperform and the share price is falling hard, usually the CEOs have to look hard at what's going on here. Why do people not want to be involved with what we're doing here? And it can definitely lead to, ideas being paused or canceled and things getting kind of wound down depending on how they see the market and the price action.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead zinc silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic engineer gold mine in the Atlan District of Northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE, symbol CRL, and the PINX, symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, one of the reasons I brought that up is show business is pretty seductive, and you have Amazon now getting into producing shows for their network, but they're a shipping company, essentially. You order stuff and they ship it to you. What do they know about making dramas and comedies?
Yeah, I didn't even know that they were into making shows, which there must be some money in it if they're doing it. But yeah, Amazon to me I used to highly respect Amazon because it was quality products and it felt like it was a real department store online with real products. Now, really all it is a glorified eBay. Instead of bidding on stuff, you're just selling China junk. But they've got a nice front end and an image that people think that they're buying. It's a quality store, but it's just a glorified eBay. You're buying China junk from a whole bunch of random people around the world, and I'm not a huge fan. I'm not sold. Well, it's a good model they've got going, obviously, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Amazon myself, but they are breaking into new stuff. They've got their own speaker that you talk to, like Siri. You can say, hey, play this song or play this music, and everybody's moving into that new voice-activated and interesting kind of technology. But, on the other hand, everybody keeps moving into those same things pretty much at the same time. And I don't know, I can't see how getting into TV shows, I guess they've got their own prime station of shows that you can do. I just don't follow Amazon and what they have to offer, but interesting that they're getting into TV shows.
Getting into something totally different. Oil. Do you think oil prices are going to remain strong through what right now is traditionally a weak time of the year for oil?
They've got really strong upward momentum, and I think we could continue to see it push higher for another week or so, but we are getting right up to this critical resistance zone. I'm really hoping we're going to see crude oil push higher by a few more dollars, get to $62 per barrel. That, to me, would be a prime opportunity to take a short position. It's a major resistance zone from way back on the chart in 2015. So if we could get that push up there, I also happen to have cycles topping out in the next week for crude oil as well. And if it hits that level and the cycles are topping out, that would really bode well for a significant pullback in crude oil. It has been on a tear since more or less June, and it still has got very bullish price action, strong momentum to the upside, and I feel as though oil is targeting it at $62 per barrel mark. It's calling its name, pulling price higher, and I could just see that level being tagged hopefully in the next week or two. And at that point, I think we'll see crude oil get softer.
Saudi Arabia has been the big supporter of this production freeze, and also, though, in the past, they were also the biggest cheater on it. So far, it seems that they're maintaining their production freeze. Is it the shale producers in the U.S. that are the wild card in all of this?
Yeah, they're definitely a wild card. They can produce quite a bit at significantly lower prices than traditional oil. But at this point in the chart, the way crude oil has been kind of forming a base and moving, it really, to me, I think it's more of a technical push. Obviously, news plays a role, but at this point, it's very much so a technical-looking pattern. The momentum is there, and news typically kind of coincides with these price actions. But to me, they usually happen kind of after the fact. And the insiders say, like, once you hear the news, the move's already done, and that's pretty much how the markets move. We could see $62 per barrel hit. Some news event comes out, and it's kind of after the fact news, so I don't follow news too much.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the war between Yemen and Saudi Arabia can't be helping, or can be helping prices. I don't know. Yeah,
usually war is good for oil, so I don't know how it plays out. I haven't followed that, but I'm worried here any day we're going to hear some type of war break out, and they could trigger a rally, and oil could trigger a big rally in precious metals. It's these missiles. It's pretty sketchy what's kind of unfolding here, and you never know what's going to happen. But gold is eventually we're probably going to have some type of war, and gold will definitely do well during that point.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, is it true? Some people have told me that money that would have gone into gold and silver right now is going into Bitcoin instead.
I think a good chunk of money is. I think a lot of gold investors, gold bugs, kind of have moved on to the next kind of shiny thing. And Bitcoin, obviously being in the news repeatedly and huge gains, so many people can't resist missing out on those kind of gains. And it's a double-sided knife. Obviously, if you've got those kind of gains, you can also have those kinds of losses. But it's definitely pulled a ton of attention because I walk around, and when I see people in town, they're all mentioning, so do you own any Bitcoin? And everybody's talking Bitcoin. So there's no doubt the amount of media Bitcoin has added credibility, excitement. It's drawing people into it, and there's no doubt it's pulling money from the stock market, the commodities market, and it's going into Bitcoin. And I think that's a part of the big fuel of Bitcoin is simply all this media coverage is enough for people to go online and buy some coins, and it's driving prices ballistic.
And of course, some people are just curious about it, so why not put a bit of an investment in it? Because we've all seen the story of the 12-year-old kid who's now a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take much back when it was very cheap coin. I remember them showing them on CNBC years ago. Somebody had one of the ladies there had one of the coins on the show, and I can't remember what it was. It was like $200 or $300 or something. And here we are, $11,000 later. It's crazy. It's insane the amount of the move that it's had.
Now, of course, China has been cracking down on Bitcoin. What if governments just declare tomorrow that Bitcoin's illegal and you can't use it.
Yeah, it would definitely put a big chunk of the stock price or the share price or whatever you want to call the currency price would fall through the floor. I think it would plummet pretty quick. I still think I think it could be a great opportunity long term if it was to do that, because it'll still be used. But I mean, if North America or China, these countries close it down, it's going to kill the price. And there are other digital currencies out there now that are they're built and designed so there's zero tracking. There's no way you could track anything. There is no way you can shut it down. There's no CEO. There's no corporation. And I think those are the ones that are going to shine. And I think there's only one or two of them that actually have complete, untraceable way of doing things. So I think in due time, Bitcoin is bound to get shut down because there's so many people, I think, using it to avoid taxes, to buy illegal things. And it's just so big now that the government either wants a huge chunk of it or they want to shut it down. And, they're probably going to shut it down. They seem to jump on anything that's good without them.
Well, also, too, the government likes to tax everything, and they're wondering, how can I tax it and make money on it?
Well, exactly, and it's extremely tough to do, I think.
Chris, anything else you wanted to add today?
No, I think we really covered it. I think right now we're looking at equities overall still to have an upward bias into the holiday season, and for safe havens to continue to kind of flounder, be under pressure here. And come January, I think there could be a switch kind of flipped, and things could get ugly for equities, and we could see a flock to the safe havens. Everything is reaching some extreme lows and highs and ready to reverse. So I think that's what's to look forward to in January.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Always a pleasure, Jim.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen, his website, thegoldanoilguy.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. If you have any questions for the show or our guests, you can send them to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.